On October 23, 2011, in Sepang, Malaysia, MotoGP changed forever. The air was thick, hot, and humid, the grandstands full, and the smell of fuel, the one they called Marco Simoncelli. Wild hair, fearless eyes, and a heart that refused to slow down. He was the spark the sport didn't know it needed. But as the lights went out, few could imagine they were watching the final race of his life. Within minutes, MotoGP would fall completely silent. No engines, no cheers, just shock. And a question that still haunts the paddock to this day. What really happened that afternoon in Sepang? To understand that moment, the crash, the heartbreak, you have to go back to where it all began. The boy who raced through the hills of Italy with nothing but a dream and a fire that would one day light up the world. This is the story of Marco Simoncelli, the fire that never went out. January 20th, 1987, Cattolica, Italy. Marco was born to Paolo and Rossella Simoncelli and grew up surrounded by the smell of ice cream and motor oil. His father ran a small gelato shop, but his passion belonged to racing. At 4 years old, Paolo handed his son a Suzuki 50cc minibike, and from that moment, Marco's life changed. He rode until the fuel ran out, and then begged to fill it again. By 10, he was already a national Minimoto champion. By 13, people whispered that this boy could be the next Valentino Rossi. But talent alone wasn't enough. Marco crashed often, and he crashed hard. Each fall taught him something new, how to control chaos and how to rise again. He was learning what would define his career, the strength to never stop fighting, no matter how many times he fell. In 2004, everything changed. At a rain-soaked Jerez Grand Prix, Marco took his first World Championship victory.
Marco Simoncelli deserves to win the Spanish Grand Prix. What a race for Simoncelli. What a win!
Will Barbara get third?
While others played it safe, he attacked, thriving in conditions that terrified others. That win announced the arrival of something special. 2 years later, he joined the 250cc class with Metis Gilera. That was where he met Valentino Rossi, a legend and a rookie, two Italians who shared one obsession: to go faster than anyone else. Marco asked Rossi if he could train with him, and Rossi said yes. From that day, they were inseparable, mentor and student, brothers in speed. Rossi would later say, "He reminds me of myself when I was young." By 2008, the chaos had found rhythm. Marco Simoncelli was no longer just a wild talent. He was a champion in the making. That year, he dominated the 250cc season with 6 victories, 12 podiums, 7 pole positions, and 281 points.
Marco Simoncelli clinches the 2008 250cc World Championship here at Sepang in Malaysia.
He became the first Italian to win the 250cc crown in nearly a decade. And he sealed that title at Sepang, the very same circuit that would later carry his name.
It's wonderful, win the championship. I don't believe I'm the happiest person in the world, I think.
In 2009, he finished third overall and even made a one-off appearance in World Superbikes at Imola, finishing third in Race 2 on a factory Aprilia.
Simoncelli will take an historic podium before he heads back home to MotoGP.
It proved his raw, fearless adaptability. Then came 2010, his MotoGP debut with San Carlo Honda Gresini. It wasn't a factory bike, but Marco didn't care. He finished 8th overall with a best result of 4th at Estoril. By 2011, things changed. Gresini gave him a factory-spec Honda RC212V, and Marco was electric. 2 poles, Catalunya and Assen, 2 podiums, 3rd at Brno, 2nd at Phillip Island. By the end of the season, he was 6th overall with 139 points. Marco wasn't just arriving, he was taking over. That brings us back to that fateful weekend in Sepang. Just like any other race, the paddock buzzed with energy. Mechanics tuned engines, riders joked on the grid, and that tropical Malaysian air hung thick with tension. For Marco, it was another chance to prove himself. Confident, composed, and still riding the high of his Phillip Island podium, he looked ready. When the lights went out, he launched perfectly. Within the opening laps, he was running in 4th place, locked in a fierce battle with Alvaro Bautista. It was classic Marco, elbows out, fearless, pushing the bike to its absolute limit. Down the back straight, Bautista stayed close, waiting for a mistake. Then, at turn 11, it happened. Marco lost the front, Bautista slipped past, and in that split second, everything changed. As Marco leaned back in, his rear tire lost grip at around 80 miles per hour. The Honda began to slide. Any other rider would have let it go, but not Marco. That same stubborn courage that made him loved by fans now became his undoing. The front tire suddenly caught traction again, snapping the bike violently across the racing line, straight into the path of Colin Edwards and Valentino Rossi. The impact was devastating. 3 riders collided at full speed. In the chaos, Marco's helmet came off, something almost unheard of in MotoGP. These helmets are the best in the world, made from carbon fiber and Kevlar, tested for crushing, twisting, and rotational forces far beyond real-world crashes. For one to fail was a freak, 1 in a million occurrence. When Rossi looked back, he saw his protege lying motionless, the same young man he had mentored, trained, and loved like a brother. Track marshals rushed in, and the race was immediately red-flagged. Doctors fought for 45 minutes to save him, but at 4:56 p.m., the sport's worst fear became reality. Marco Simoncelli was gone.
Why we are here. The purpose of this press conference is to appraise you of the circumstances that resulted in the tragic death of Marco Simoncelli.
The paddock fell silent. Mechanics stood frozen. Even the toughest riders couldn't find words. Moments later, Dorna canceled the race. No restart, no podium, only grief. What began like any other race weekend ended with the entire sport standing still. The day the noise stopped, and MotoGP lost its fire. When the news broke, time seemed to stop. Riders who faced danger every weekend stood in disbelief. Valentino Rossi stayed in Malaysia to help Paolo Simoncelli, Marco's father, pack up his son's garage for the last time. Rossi later said, "I cried for hours. I couldn't believe it."
We just cry and we don't have nothing to say.
2 days later, Marco's body arrived in Italy. At Leonardo da Vinci Airport, over 20,000 fans were waiting, waving flags, chanting his name, holding his number 58 high above their heads. The convoy to Coriano looked like a championship parade, but it was a farewell. His public viewing took place in a small theater. 2 days later, on October 27, 2011, his funeral was held at the Church of Santa Maria. Thousands filled the streets, unable to fit inside. Rossi, Dovizioso, and the entire Gresini team stood shoulder to shoulder in silence. Marco's bike was parked outside, his helmet resting on the seat, as if waiting for him to ride again. His father, Paolo, stood by the casket and whispered, "He died doing what he loved most." When the ceremony ended, the crowd erupted, not in silence, but in applause. His family had asked for it that way. They wanted noise, not mourning. Engines roared across Coriano, echoing through the hills, the sound of a spirit that refused to fade. Italy never forgot, and neither did MotoGP. In 2012, the Misano World Circuit was renamed Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli. Every year since, thousands of fans have raised banners with the number 58. Paolo Simoncelli built the SIC 58 Squadra Course team, a place for young riders to chase their dreams under his son's name. Valentino Rossi kept his promise too. He founded the VR46 Riders Academy, guiding a new generation of Italian riders, from Franco Morbidelli to Pecco Bagnaia, the 2-time MotoGP world champion. Each of them carries a piece of Marco's spirit, his courage, his laughter, his refusal to give up. When Bagnaia won his first world title, many said it felt like Italy was healing, as if Marco's dream still lived through them. In 2016, MotoGP officially retired the number 58. No rider will ever wear it again. To this day, his memory lives not just in trophies or circuits, but in every rider who dares to lean a little deeper, break a little later, and chase the edge the way he once did. Marco. And he reminded the world that racing isn't just about winning. It's about living, completely, intensely, without fear of what comes next. He was only 24, but his story, his smile, and his fire will never fade, because some legends don't live forever, they burn forever.